A lot of people make New Year resolutions, and health most of the times comes tops because people won't visit the hospitals, have their medicals checked, have screens done, especially coming from all the merrymaking in December, and you know how to make sure that we position ourselves right for the year ahead. Now, one thing that you may want to pay attention to as a woman is cervical cancer, and January is the Cervical Cancer Awareness Month, and so it's very ideal, and I'm excited that it comes at the very beginning of the year, and we are having this conversation. I've got some beautiful doctors, you know, here who are going to be having this conversation with me. Now, Dr. Nana Kusia Kunedudako is a family physician. Hi, doctor. How are you doing?
I'm good. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. And I also have Dr. Kalsum Zakaria Adam. She's public health practitioner, national coordinator for YMWIA of MWAG. That's quite a mouthful, Dr. Kalsum. Welcome to Breakfast Daily.
Thank you.
Right, to start with, what is YMWIA of MGA? Oh, gosh.
All right, so YMWIA is Young Medical Women International Association.
Okay.
And then MWAG, which is MWAG, is Medical Women Association of Ghana.
Okay.
So basically, these are associations that put together all lady doctors across the country. So MWAG is for Ghana, so all lady doctors across Ghana. And then MWIA is the international or the mother body that puts together all the other lady doctors across the whole world.
Super. Now let me find out from you, how has the conversation and the education on cervical cancer been over the years?
All right, so I would say that it's been good in the sense that MWAG, which is Medical Women Association of Ghana, we have been doing a lot over the years. We make sure that in the month of January, we go across every region and then we speak to people about cervical cancer with laying emphasis on education and the need for us to have our screenings done. It is actually the lady's responsibility to actually know that she needs to take that responsibility up and then make sure that she follows up on her screenings every year. And over the years, it's been good in the sense that I think people are now more aware of what cervical cancer is, and especially in the month of January, when we talk more about it, we go into the communities, and then we actually do some free screenings. Thankfully, we have our partners, which is Lexa Ghana, the producers of YAS. They have been very, very supportive. Over the years, we do that collaboration with them, and we are able to infiltrate all the way down to the grassroots, and then we give them the education as well as the screenings.
Right. Now, Dr. Anakusia, so for those who may not be too sure of what exactly we mean by cervical cancer, what exactly are we talking about here?
Okay. So when we talk about cancer, your body, every part of your body grows. We have stops and starts. I think in one of your earlier segments, you talked about a man who had gigantism. Good. So there's a stop and a start for various parts of your body. Now, cancer is when that becomes abnormal. The growth is abnormal. So cervical cancer, we are talking about the womb of the woman and the edge of the womb of the woman having that abnormal growth, that abnormal setting in the woman's body. Yes.
Right. Now, what would cause cervical cancer? Is it something that I'm doing? Is it something that can happen to anybody, or there are specific risk factors that will cause this?
Good. So there are risk factors. A risk factor is just something that makes you more likely to have the condition than somebody else. There are risk factors that you can change, and there are things that you can't do anything about. Risk factors like being a female, age, you can't change that. But something like HPV, human papilloma virus, it's a virus that, in fact, is responsible for more than 90% of cervical cancer. So if you can stop a woman from having this virus, the dangerous ones anyway, then you will likely save her from getting cervical cancer. Other risks include having multiple sexual partners, because again, it increases your risk of having the human papilloma, HPV virus. Then things like smoking can also increase your risk as well. Yes.
Now, Dr. How can you tell that you have cervical cancer?
All right, so cervical cancer, we don't, so the main purpose of this drive is we do not want people to get to cervical cancer.
Okay.
Yes, okay. We want to be able to catch it very early. Okay, so there are one of the signs also, for you to be able to tell if you have cervical cancer, it has to do with some symptoms. Okay, so some of the symptoms may be that at the early stages, you may not have any symptoms at all.
Okay.
So you see, that is why we are emphasizing on the fact that you need to have screening done every time. At least you would be able to catch it very early. So no symptoms at all, and the cervix is hidden.
Yeah.
So because it's hidden, you don't have any symptoms and you think everything is fine, but something is going on down there. Well, when you come down with cervical cancer, some of the symptoms or some of the things you may feel are, you may have the severe lower abdominal pain. Okay, you may also have what we call pain during intercourse, abnormal pain during intercourse.
Okay. Now, hold on. Let's look at this pain, right? How different will this pain be from like menstrual cramps? You know, like sometimes, you know, people also experience pains during ovulation. How do you tell the difference?
So the pain doesn't come in isolation.
Okay.
It also comes with certain symptoms that would help you to marry the two.
Okay.
You get it? So, but for cervical cancer, you notice that there's this severe pain coupled with other symptoms I'm about to mention, like bloody discharge, okay, and then sometimes not your regular menstrual flow, so you have intermenstrual bloody discharge, abnormal, and then sometimes you tend to have this foul, smelly odor, and then also discharge from the area. And also, depending on where or the staging of the cancer, if it has spread to other areas of the body, you may have some symptoms peculiar to those areas. So for instance, if it has metastasized or it has traveled all the way to the chest region, you may have difficulty breathing. Okay. If it has metastasized to other parts of your body, let's say assuming your limbs, you may have difficulty walking and all of that. So all of these are some of the things that should quickly tell you that something has really, really gone bad and you really need to see your gynecologist.
You know, so now we don't want to get there.
Yes.
What do we need to do? You've mentioned
So
the
you need
screening,
to
but
screen.
what are the modalities? Who needs to, are there certain ages? You mentioned earlier, Dr. Akusia, that, you know, these are some risk factors, age and stuff like that, that you can't really do much about. How do we just wrap our heads around this?
Okay, so it's important that we screen. There are different screening modalities. We have what we call the VIA, which is visual inspection with acetic acid. We also have the pap smear, which is very popular. And then we also have the testing for HPV DNA. Okay, so all of these are screening modalities. Now, it is important that when you are within the ages of 21 to 29, at least having a pap smear every 3 years is imperative. Okay. And then when you are between the ages of 35 to about 65 or 30 to about 65, then you can have still the pap smear, and then it's also important, or it's recommended that you have the HPV DNA testing also done. So when you have the HPV DNA testing done together with the pap smear, we call it co-testing. And that is where you can do it every 5 years. So basically, somebody may ask, what is pap smear? So pap smear is when you go in and then you open up the cervix with a speculum, and then you take some of the cells there. So you just scrape a little bit of the cells, you put it on a slide, and then it's taken to the lab, and then it's examined for any abnormalities. So that is basically the pap smear. It is painless. Okay, so my ladies, yes, it's painless. So my ladies come out and then let's have this pap smear done. And then for the HPV DNA, there's something we call PCR.
Okay.
So the cells that have been collected are then tested for the presence of this particular virus, which is the human papilloma virus, which causes the virus, which causes the cervical cancer. I beg your pardon. Then another thing is the VIA, which I mentioned.
Okay.
So VIA is basically you go in, open, and then you inspect, as well as you use something we call the acetic acid.
Okay.
So the acetic acid, there will be this whitish appearance of the cervix.
Okay.
That should tell you that, okay, it's likely there's something happening there, either a precancerous lesion or cervical cancer itself, for the invasive type. Then you can treat it there and then.
For the sake of time, we may not be able to get it because I'm actually enjoying the conversation myself, but that is why we need to find where MWAG.
Yeah.
Is that, can we just, MWAGs?
Yeah, MWAG is fine.
Okay, yeah. What exactly is MWAG doing? So we know where to go for those who may want to go have their tests and their screenings done and all. How are we observing this month?
So
in like 30 seconds.
This month we are having our educational talks. We are going to various TV and radio stations to give brief talks on cervical cancer and how you can prevent that. We talked about screening, but I'd also say there's vaccination.
Okay.
Now, the screening and the vaccinations, most of our health facilities, government health facilities, you can get screened. At Kolebu, you have the polyclinic and you have the reproductive health unit attached to the obstetrics and gynecology department. They do screening. For January, the polyclinic is doing screening every day. You can go there any day, just come and say that you want to have a pap smear or you want to be screened, you heard this on TV, you want to come.
Yeah.
When January passes, we have it every Thursday. But at the reproductive health unit at Kolebu, it's every day, any day, Monday to Friday.
Is it expensive?
At their opening times. It depends on which one you are doing. For the VIA, it's the least expensive. It's about 50 cedis. It's the HPV DNA that tends to be a little more on the expensive side. It was about 150 cities. Sometimes there are discounts because of.
Can we find MWAG on social media, or can we find it somewhere so we can continue conversation from there?
Yes, definitely. I'm sure with YAS. So we have a collaboration with YAS. So all our information will be posted out there.
Fantastic.
And I would want to tell all my leaders out there, January is Cervical Cancer Awareness Month. Please come out there, get yourself educated, get yourself screened. It's important.
We will.
And thank you to Lexta Ghana, producers of YAS, for the continuous collaboration.
Thank you very much, Dr. Kalsom, and also to you, Dr. Nana, because you have a fantastic job you are doing.